Hello viewers, hope you all are good. In this video, I will briefly explain the concept of a personal services business or PSB in Canada and the tax implications for a PSB. If you are new to our channel, please don't forget to subscribe for future updates. Thank you for your interest in our channel. If you need our services, please feel free to contact us as and when it is required. You can also save our contact information for future reference. Now, coming back to the topic, if you have incorporated your business or are considering incorporating to provide services to one other company, you might be considered by the Canada Revenue Agency to be operating as a personal services business. This means your tax obligations will be different from other corporations. It is important that you are aware of the tax implications of incorporating and operating a personal services business in Canada. It is common for businesses to hire individuals to fulfill short or long-term needs. There is a growing practice in some industries where an individual may choose or be required by the hiring business to incorporate in order to provide their services. Generally speaking, a personal services business exists where the individual would be considered to be an employee of the pair if it were not for the existence of the corporation. This structure is sometimes referred to as an incorporated employee. Your corporation may be operating as a personal services business if the following conditions are met as outlined in the Income Tax Act. 1. You as the incorporated employee performing services is a specified shareholder of the corporation. 2. If the corporation did not exist, you as the incorporated employee would be considered an employee of the entity receiving the services. 3. Your corporation does not employ more than 5 full-time employees throughout the tax year. And 4. The amounts received by your corporation for services were not received from a related secondary corporation. Example 1. John is looking for a job. An Ontario-based trucking company, Alpha Trucking, offers him a 12-month contract position with full-time hours. The contract comes with the stipulation that John perform his services through a corporation. John incorporates his business as Quick Ontario Incorporated, for which he is the only shareholder and the only employee. Quick Ontario Incorporated's only client is Alpha Trucking. Quick Ontario Incorporated bills Alpha Trucking for the services it performs, and it receives payment from Alpha Trucking for those services. Quick Ontario Incorporated either keeps the funds in the corporation or disperses them to John. In this example, Quick Ontario Incorporated meets the conditions outlined in the Income Tax Act to be considered a personal services business because 1. John is a specified shareholder of Quick Ontario Incorporated. 2. John performs the work of an Alpha Trucking employee using their trucks, and were it not for the existence of Quick Ontario Incorporated, John would be considered an employee of Alpha Trucking. 3. Quick Ontario's Incorporated's sole income is from services performed by John, that is the incorporated employee for Alpha Trucking. Example 2. Farah is looking to create her own coding and consulting business. She creates a business plan with a couple of friends and incorporates as 123 Programming Incorporated. Farah and her 2 friends become shareholders of the business. To perform work, Farah and her business partners use the corporation's computer equipment. Throughout the first fiscal year, the corporation worked for 5 clients, billed the clients, and disbursed a portion of the payment to the shareholders while also holding a small portion to pay off corporation expenses. The work they performed ranged from coding an appointment registration application for a hair salon to consulting with a mall on how to update their networking infrastructure. In this example, 123 Programming Incorporated does not meet the conditions outlined in the Income Tax Act to be considered a personal services business because 1. Farah and her business partners perform work for clients using 123 Programming Incorporated's equipment, but they do not perform work that an employee of their clients would normally perform. 2. 123 Programming's income is from services performed by more than one shareholder for more than one client. Since 123 Programming Incorporated is not considered a personal services business, they will follow rules and obligations set out in the Income Tax Act for other corporations. If you are an incorporated employee and your corporation is operating a personal services business, your tax obligations are different than other corporations. For example, relating to tax deductions and tax rates, a personal services business is not eligible for the general tax rate reduction or the small business deduction, which allow other corporations to reduce their corporate tax rates. As a result, a personal services business is subject to the full federal and provincial corporate tax rates on all taxable income, plus an additional 5%. What are the eligible expenses for a personal services business? A personal services business is limited in the expenses they may deduct. Expenses that may be deducted by a personal services businesses are outlined in the T2 Corporation Income Tax Guide and are as follows. 1. The salary and wages the corporation pays to its incorporated employees. 2. Any benefit or allowance the corporation provides to its incorporated employees. 3. Certain expenses of the corporation associated with selling property or negotiating contracts. And 4. Legal expenses incurred by the corporation in collecting amounts owing. What are the filing and payment obligations of a PSB? A corporation that is operating as a personal services business is required to file a T2 corporation income tax return and pay any amounts owing to the CRA by the corporate tax filing and payment deadlines like any other corporation. When completing the T2 return, however, it is important to remember that a personal services business is not eligible to claim the same tax deductions and expenses that are available to other corporations, and they are subject to a higher tax rate. A personal services business is also responsible for GST, HST withholding, filing, and remitting obligations such as CPP, EI, as well as issuing T4 slips for any employees of their corporation. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for future updates.